let's look at how to write a method. So the purpose of a method is so you have a segment of code you can always call as many times as needed instead of writing the code multiple times. So you write the code once and you call it whenever you need it. Static methods means there's only one and it's owned by the class. Now, there's also non-static methods, but we're not going to be looking at those in this section. Now, to create the method, you must have the following. So it's going to look like this: public, static, the return type, which could be things like int, double, string, or void, the name of the method, and then the parameters. Now, inside the parameters, you can have as many as you want or none if you so desire. Now, technically, a method could be private protected, but we're going to look at those in the future. So methods can only return one thing or nothing. And if it's nothing, it's void. So here, again, the return type, int, double, string, Boolean. You could return an array, which is just one variable. Or if it returns nothing, it's void. And methods can have as many parameters as you want. So the parameters go here. So you define the type and then a name. So you like int x or string s. So you can have as many parameters as you want, which means as many variables as you want, or maybe you have nothing in there as well. You don't necessarily have to have parameters. Okay, so let's look at a method here. We're gonna create a method. So I create some variables, int a, b, give them some values, and then I set c equal to this, add to a comma b. So add to is a method, and it receives a parameter of an int and an int. So it receives two parameters, two ints. And add to is going to return an int, thus I can store it into an int. So this is how we call a method. And since it returns something, I have to store it into something. Now, technically, and then I'll print it out. Technically, I can do anything that I could with it that normally does an int. So since I can print ints, I could call it here and just directly print it to the screen. Okay, so let's look at the method add to. Let's look at what it's actually doing. So first off, we have a comment here that's in the Java doc format. First thing is the name, what the method does, and then you have the parameters. At param x is an int, at param y is an int, and then the at return, the value of x plus y as an int. So here's our method header. Public, static, the return type, the name, and then the parameters. This is the body of the method. Again, this is the body of the method. So all it does is it's returning x plus y. So nothing super fancy, but it's demonstrating the concept of a method. It has a name, parameters, a return type. So let's run this. Let's compile it. Let's see what happens. And there we go. C is 7, and the other one's 5. Now note, when we go here, we now have another option. You have your main, and you also have this method, int add to int x comma int y. So I can click on that, and look, there's all of my comments, and I can send it some variables. So this is saying I got to send it an integer, so let's say 6. Send another integer, let's say 12, and it gives me the return value, which is 18. And that is the end of this lesson.